Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cloud9 podcast, season 11, episode 6. And in today's episode, we are going to be doing our LCS 2024 spring split recap. We are going to be talking about why the Cloud9 super team failed, as well as going into the LCS format change coming up during the summer of the LCS 2024 summer split. Actually, as you guys know, the LCS is moving to best of threes, and I would imagine that come next year they're going to be having a 3 split format similar to the LEC. And we also have the Esports World Cup coming up actually as well, and Riot is looking to add a third international event coming up in 2025. I think we talked about those things on past episodes already, but they're coming more and more, into fruition now. And we're going to be discussing quite a bit of things here in today's episode. I just want to say, if you cannot watch the show live, if you are a returning or new viewer, then subscribe to the channel. If you have not already, make sure to leave a like on the show, comment down below, hit that notification bell. That way you can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video on the channel or go live. And you can choose to watch this show on all of your podcasting platforms that the show is available on. Just type up Master Swag King, and then the yellow lion thumbnail will appear, and you'll have the Iron Man podcast available to you and the Cloud9 podcast. And if you want to go and binge my older original podcast that I had going for a while, which was the Nightwing podcast, you can go and binge that show as well. You had 12 seasons of that. And joining me here today in this episode of the Cloud9 podcast is Mr. Blanks. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just chilling and shit.
Yeah, he just got off work. He's trying to look fresh in his room and shit. Good Lord.
Yeah.
My Lakers are getting blown out.
No, Lakers haven't played, or the Lakers haven't played yet.
Good Lord.
Their first game was Orlando versus Cleveland. That was like a 40-point blowout. The Knicks right now are losing to the Sixers. It might be over, but it's all good. Man. It's still 8-point deficit. 3 minutes left, and the Lakers are about to go down 3-0 in about 15 minutes. Yeah, or definitely game 3 starts. But yeah, everything's good, man. Just
Mm-hmm. You got Pokemon stuff this week?
Yep, I got practice, or I call it practice, me going to locals. And then I got a challenge, hopefully, on Sunday. And then if everything goes right, I might have 4 cups in May. All Sundays, back to back to back to back.
What? No way.
Yeah. The first 2 are in New York. The third one's the third and fourth one look like they're going to be in Connecticut. Thank God.
Okay.
Yeah. I skipped last weekend one.
So for that week, if you have tournaments on Sunday, we'd have to just only have shows on Thursday that week, right?
Oh, okay. No. Okay. The later part of the 19th when the MSI finale is, I'll be home. I'll be home in time because even if I go to the finals and win or lose, the cup will be over by 6. The second New York one is the one I'm skeptical about. That's the one where I got asterisk next to it. The first one I know I'm going to because it's right off the train and it's like a 10-minute walk around the corner. Don't walk in no alleyways, people. In New York or Los Angeles, nowhere. Niggas.
Yeah.
And I don't mean black people, I mean ignorant motherfuckers. But
do not walk in the train station of New York at 12 o'clock at night. You will actually just
I wouldn't do it in the 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you see a pack of motherfuckers and they yelling and fighting, just stay the fuck out of that subway. If you could walk to a location you need to go to, walk.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Oh, I want to let you guys know. On Sunday, we're going to be doing our MSI 2024 team tier list. We're going to be talking about the expectations for the LCS and the LEC that we individually might have for them at this year's midseason invitational coming up. And I can't wait to have my Genji and T1 icon this year. Since I've been going to basically every international event for like forever, I've just been able to just like rotate out my icons for like the new year. So when the new Genji one comes in, you guys will see I'll just swap it out with another one. Actually, I did like last year's MSI icons. Actually, those looked really, really cool. Actually, the Worlds ones where they were like fading in and fading out, those were like okay. I feel like MSI's icons have been a little bit more better recently, actually. But man, God, let's go over some of the stuff for the LCS. So the LCS 2024 spring split, Mark Z ended up becoming the commissioner, and he's been like going off about the viewership increase. Now, what people don't understand about the viewership increase is that there was a bunch of co-streamers that ended up, basically having co-streams, which inherently brought the viewership up a little bit. And earlier on in the split, he was talking about like there was a 4% increase in viewership. Well, people gotta understand if there's like a bunch of these co-streamers boosting up the viewership for the LCS, and that means the LCS's viewership itself is not really like actually anything great. The CB LOL ended up packing out at 500K viewers for their finals. Actually, the LCK was at 1 million. I think on their VOD on YouTube had 1 million views on that thing. I don't know the actual live count number of the stream, but I know it was a lot of people watching.
It was like 1.3 million.
Shit's insane. I don't know the numbers for the LEC. I know that it was like okay, for a G2 Fnatic final.
It was like 500,000. It was close to where CBLO was.
So that's the thing is most of the LCS viewership bigger numbers is mostly just propped up by big co-streamers. Actually, I think just give a few more people co-streaming rights to just build up the LCS viewership because, I don't know if the LCS viewership is coming back because, of a lot of things, actually. You also have, like, the broadcast actually did, improve over time. And what's crazy is that Dash is gone because they probably think that, he was a part of the product that didn't work, so we'll just kind of get him out of there. Yeah. Even though I think he would slot in perfectly fine with how they do things now. I don't see why he couldn't,
To me, I think it was something with money.
You think he just wanted too much money on his contract?
I think he was worth too much. Sometimes people are willing to take less, but but then they also could be like, do I really like? Even though we pay him less, if he gets a contract from anybody else, he's gonna more likely want to take it. Not always. Some people are loyal, be like, okay, I'll for less.
I know Dardo talked about that with like Fnatic players. Like, sometimes when a player's on an org for a long time, then like those years in their contracts start activating where they start getting where it's like written that they get a lot more money, so they'll try to like, get rid of them beforehand because, or they'll even ask them, like, they'll try to reevaluate like, hey, do you still buy into our vision? Do you still kind of like, want to be a part of the org? A lot of those things happen, guys, behind the scenes. I would imagine that the LCS broadcast getting a lot better. I mean, the gameplay for the split really wasn't all that good. I was like browsing through Reddit a little bit. I don't know why I did because my brain just does that. People were like, "Oh my god, the LCS is so competitive this year," and I'm like, "What split did we watch? This was just as bad as the other ones, honestly." I mean, yeah, we didn't have Golden Guardians and Evil Geniuses, but I don't really think this split really showcased any like real fucking like great gameplay from the LCS. Like, what really was great about the LCS spring split this time around? I really don't know. I don't remember. Like, was there any like true standout games that ended up happening in the split? I can't remember like one, like a single standout game that ended up happening. I'm trying to remember because usually in like most splits, there's usually standout games that happen between like the real big guys. I'm trying to remember like what was the biggest standout game from this split. I think the only one that comes to my mind is when Team Liquid just completely threw against Cloud9 when Jan literally just could have like Senna W'd JoJo and he just did it and they just threw the entire game.
That or what's up?
Oh, and Armal punched Armal's volley bear. Oh, that was actually pretty impressive.
You got that. Yep.
I think those were the only two that happened. Yeah. Because, dude, do you remember, like, for that 2-week break we have at the LCS, that they went into that jank best of three? It's basically the old best of three studio. I've been in there before, and I'm sort of thinking to myself, why did we ever do that? Because I know it was for VCT Americas, because they used the studio for Valorant, but they ended up putting it back the week after. I'm sort of thinking to myself, why did we do this? Why did we get in here, make this whole arena look this way for just, 3 days? It was 3 days, right? Yeah, it was a super week, I think. Super week, 3 days, just to put it all back, just to basically come back to the main stage the following week. I'm sitting there going like, what? It could have, I'll be honest with you guys, I would have just waited to come back the other week, honestly. Like, I don't really understand the reason to like fix this studio up when you have this one right here. It's just ridiculous sometimes what they do. It's absolutely mind-blowing. What else was there for the spring split? I think that's it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we had viewership kind of increasing. I guess Mark was bragging about 4%. 4%. God, we're desperate out here in the LCS now. I don't think really any gameplay specifically stand out beside the games that we mentioned. And then you had the broadcast that improved a little bit. I think, that I guess that's really all I can really say.
Yeah.
Trying to remember, was there really anything else that stood out about the LCS? Oh, the games were quicker. I'll say that the game time was quicker. I don't mind the whole pre-recorded draft thing. The problem with the LCS was the downtime, that we're sitting here waiting for these really, really bad teams to play. And then when you get to the game, it's even worse. So you just like waited a whole bunch of fucking time for basically nothing, And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, let's start. I'll ask you before we head out to the teams. Is there anything about the LCS that you wanted to say just before we go to the teams and stuff?
FlyQuest better be game. No, not game.
Hello? Are
PSG.
Okay.
Yeah, PSG.
Oh shit!
I don't know why.
Good Lord.
I was thinking about last year was Game beating the shit out of Team Liquid. That's why. FlyQuest better beat PSG. I don't want to say LG. PSG. They better because.
Okay.
Yeah, FlyQuest looked kind of disappointing toward the end of the season.
I think it was the finals. I don't know if they got a huge wake up call or did they just like really, misread what was going on. But then again, fucking hell, these teams could always do this to you. All right, let's go through some of the teams right now. All right, so we'll save Team Liquid and FlyQuest and C9 for later, obviously because, C9's the bigger part of later in the show, and we'll just talk about some of the other rosters, actually. All right, so let's start with good old Immortals and Dignitas to get them the fuck out. All right, Immortals. They brought in a new head coach, and they brought in Ole. They kept Tactical. They brought over Korean imports Mask and Castle, and they got Mayonnaise. No, or Mayo. For the most part, I think they played a little bit better compared to like other years, but they only really had good games against Cloud9. Like they beat Cloud9 both times during the split, which is, I guess, something good for them.
Yeah.
I think Castle looked good for the most part, given, team circumstances. I think Mask looked strong in the first few weeks, but then kind of just, started faltering toward the very end. Armail just like never looked good. Tactical kind of stepped up in a few games. He had some carry games when he was on Ezreal. But other than that, when he wasn't on Ezreal, he just kind of just was running it for the most part. Oh, sorry, Ezreal and Varus, actually. And then I feel like Ole kind of was their best player, but Ole was really only ever good on like Bard. So
yeah.
I can kind of understand why the roster ended up getting 8th again. Like, I think this is like the 4th or 5th straight split where they finished like bottom half of the league or just straight up last, actually. So like Pure Fight Trend, even though they beat Cloud9, they literally lost to like every other team. They only got 4 wins, actually.
Yeah.
If you look at their match record, they beat Cloud9 twice, they beat NRG once, and they beat Shopify Rebellion once. NRG looked like horse shit this split.
Cloud9 was the only team they was able to beat twice, and I never understood that. What the fuck?
Oh god. Immortals went from basically just being around like 8th to 9th because, Golden Guardians and EG,
Yeah,
sorry, because you have Golden Guardians there with them sometimes. But now they're just strictly just 8th. They have like no social media branding. Their posts on Twitter get no interaction. I feel like they're just building jank rosters just to get league minimum from like
that
the
too.
league money that you get back that Riot gives you actually.
Either that or Immortals is launder money, and they need this org as a son because this team dog water. They're dog water.
This org is so bad, man. This org is trash. Like everyone, every split in the Twitch chat at this point now, guys, is like, sell the team, sell the org.
Yep.
Oh my god. Every single freaking time just to sell the org, man. But yeah, I'll be honest with you guys, most of their gameplay was pretty bad. Like when they faced up against NRG versus Immortals was the worst fucking game I have seen this split outside of like Vitality versus Carmine Corp and Carmine Corp versus SK Gaming. Those are the top 3 worst games of this year so far.
Oh yeah.
Immortals versus versus NRG was the fucking worst game I have ever seen. That was dog shit.
Don't forget
Contract walked into the Baron, stole it, walked out, and they just looked like they just got fucking punched in the face.
Yeah, no, that was literally the definition of me walking in your house, like figuring your girl, drinking your Kool-Aid, taking your food, and walking right out. Yeah, motherfuckers just look at me, do nothing. I was like, wait a second. This thing is.
He quite literally just Poppy, Steadfast Presence, walked it, flashed in,
he
stole it,
flashed in and just walked out. Didn't even nothing. Just walked out.
You're thinking to yourself, how the fuck did he get in there? How did he get in there? With the champions that they had in that game, just straight dog doo-doo dog shit fucking team. God. Next split, guess what, guys? They're gonna be finishing 7th or 8th. How did they finish 8th? When there's 2 less teams in the league. They finished 8th when there's 2 less teams in the league. They still finished last. And then they're like, you know what? We gotta fire the coach. No! Your players suck!
Yep.
What did Sharks do? He gave him a little bit of direction in game. I kind of saw the coaching style that he had for them. These players just suck. There's no way you're talking about winning a split fucking trying to play with tactical. Come on. What is we doing here these days? Trying to win a split with tactical. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Anything else you want to say about Immortals, actually?
They stink. They just straight stink, man. I've been watching League since 2022?
2022 summer. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the highest I've ever seen Immortals was 7th place. Or not 7th. No, sorry, no. The equivalent to be 7th, it was like 9th place.
Basically bottom half, essentially. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? They are the Astralis of LCS. I've never seen them. I don't even think I've seen them in the playoffs. At least Astralis got to the playoffs once.
They were in the playoffs one time since they became this version of Immortals, not the past one from 2017, 2016. They made it to playoffs as the 6th seed in the 2021 LCS summer split. They got knocked out by TSM. It was a 3-1 anyway, honestly.
Oh, okay.
They make the playoffs once.
I was surprised that they was able to take a game. Shit.
Everyone else was surprised too. Their coach at the time was like, yeah, we're going to beat them. It's like, shut up. No, you're not. Just stop speaking. All right, let's go to Shopify Rebellion. They bought the slot from TSM. TSM is no longer in the league, along with CLG, Golden Guardians, and EG. Factor that in, guys. The 2 of the oldest orgs that basically started the LCS are not even in the LCS anymore. TSM and CLG are gone. Well, those were like kind of shells of their former selves anyway, but you guys see what I'm saying. All right, Shopify Rebellion with their roster. They also had some standout games against Cloud9 as well. For some reason, Cloud9 had like the worst games against Shopify Rebellion and Immortals. And coming into this next split, Fate God is going to get replaced by Licorice, I think, actually. Yeah. I'll be honest here. I don't know why Fate God constantly
I thought it was Rich.
Was it? Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah. Fate God. He was just not good. Boogie is basically just like some Elise Wukong 2 trick. If Elise not in the meta, he just completely stinks. He can play a good Wukong game. He's really good at Wukong, but yeah, you just kind of just ban that from him. Insanity was playing the most random shit mid lane. You could probably this motherfucker played Garen mid, Zach mid, just playing random shit mid because he's not good at mages. If your mid laner is not good at mages, you can't compete. I'm sorry, you like legit can't compete. If you can't play mages, you straight trash, honestly. And people say, why would they put him on mages? Why would they not put him on the mages if he can't? Okay, so basically, the team realizes you are so shit at those. They put you on anything else, you're going to have way more impact. That's why he played Sion mid. He has way more impact playing Sion mid than he does Orianna. That's already a huge weakness, actually, you know? And you can make that style work, but, you know, you're going to have other good players around you to kind of cover up for that weakness, and that just didn't happen, actually. Insanity looked really, really just janked this split, if I'm being honest here. B-Boy and Zeyzal, I think B-Boy looked pretty good, given the fact that he had to play with Zeyzal and given the circumstances surrounding their bot lane. Zeyzal looked okay. He looked all right. But for the most part, this is another, like, bottom roster. It should be no surprise they finished, like, 7th next to Immortals anyway. You know? Like, later on, as the split went by, you're like, okay, they can kind of beat Cloud9, but, like, against everybody else, they, like, kind of just really suck. And they did have a few close games here and there, but like you just saw that they have no macro. These bottom teams like Immortals and Shopify Rebellion, they have no macro sense. They don't know how to go to objectives properly. They don't know what to do on the map for the most part. These are the reason why these teams are completely just 7th and 8th. What did you want to say about Shopify Rebellion, dude?
I was gonna say they stink, but like they're a troll team, man. If they ain't even a goddamn troll, this motherfucker just putting on all kinds of bullshit. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What is he doing?
If your team is like, you have to play Zach mid because you're so bad at mages, you probably might need to get a new mid laner. Just saying. If your team has no faith in you playing Orianna, you might as well just quit. Just saying. Yep. You know? They kept the same head coach Reverend, so this is basically just TSM plus B-Boy minus Wild Turtle. I wouldn't really say plus Fake God. That's not really a plus, honestly. What's something in math where you just go even? Like a negative and a negative equals a positive, right?
I mean, it depends on the number. Usually.
Well, just in general, if you're doing like positive and positive equals negative, right?
No, positive equals positive.
Negative plus positive equals negative.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yep. Yeah, so it basically went negative just to hit negative, honestly. I don't think most of these like really bottom team guys, I don't know any game that these guys really had. Like, Boogie had a standout Wukong game, but that's all I remember, basically. Everyone else of these guys in this roster, outside of, like, B-Boy, who was consistent, I don't know if he really should have been all-pro ADC, but he looked consistent, but he didn't really show anything that was, like, super special, honestly. All right, let's go to NRG, actually. NRG, the reigning LCS champions at the time. They won the 2023 summer split for the LCS. Basically just minus who he was on Golden Guardians, who finished 4th place at the time. Yeah, this was the spring split champion, obviously minus who he with these 4 other players, and they just looked bad. They just looked awful for the most part. You know, I mean, with Ignar, it's so hard. It's so crazy that they did look better with Ignar. You know, it just kind of feels like the way that he wants to play the game is not the same as Ignar, and the team was kind of more built into this style that Ignar wanted to play, and the style that he potentially wants to play is not the style that they're actually comfortable with, nor can they maybe even play that style very well. Because with Golden Guardians, I mean, Stix's ADC was fucking. He's ADC was fucking Stixay. He got no right, no team to be given no direction of how to play a game. He's just awful, right? So then you had fucking Gory, River, and Licorice, and it's like, yeah, he's going to be the guy that kind of stands up, you know, and kind of just makes decisions for the team. But on a team like this with FBI, Palafox, Dolkla, Contracts, these guys aren't going to be like as, you know, more lenient into believing his way of playing the game. FBI, who he did play on 100 Thieves before, they had a lot of success on 100 Thieves for the most part. Went to Worlds, they won championship, they went to finals multiple times. But even though that was happening, you still saw like massive problems with their style of bot lane synergy. You know, They just don't. They're not like, it's weird how they could do so well together before, but people are like, but you're gonna bring back FBI and Huhi. Yeah, FBI and Huhi toward the latter end of their 100 Thieves careers were looking pretty suspect actually. Despite that, still getting to Worlds and everything. It's like they did well together in spite of their differences in how to play bot lane. That's kind of the best way to say it, honestly.
Yeah.
And this time around, basically, FBI kind of proved that he can win without Huhi. And if Huhi is coming back and he's given direction, it's like, hey man, I don't know about that. We kind of are the ones that won, not you. So, what do you think, man?
Okay. Energy is funny because I even saw last year that they got lucky because
yeah. It was pretty much known they really overperformed actually.
Yep, it was like okay,
mm-hmm.
And people say, "Oh, they can do it again." I was like, "No, they can't. They can't do it again."
Yeah,
I know they were. I know
they were like saying you're a we were calling people haters. You're like, they're just a hater. It's like they are literally overperforming. They're essentially like fucking BDS for the LCS actually.
Yep.
But the players aren't really maybe not BDS. They're probably like because BDS doesn't have a good roster really at all, honestly.
Yeah.
Fuck. They'll probably be like Team Vitality if I really could give them like an identity for like to match up between the LEC and the LCS. Like if they can have their players performing when it matters, or just in general their skill level and skill sets relatively, they could actually be a top 3 team. It could be a top 4 team. The problem is that if you look at their floors with all these players, it's not that good outside of like FBI and Palafox actually. And for the most part during the split, it was mostly just Contracts doing everything for them, honestly. Like if I swear if Contracts wasn't more of a passive jungler, they actually probably don't even make playoffs. People need to factor in. There was that break where if they didn't go like undefeated, they were not going to make playoffs. It was that serious actually. There was a good chance they weren't even in the contention of making playoffs. Palafox had some okay games here and there. There was not a game Doklo looked good at all. I'm sorry. He just completely tanked Spring Split. Huhi himself didn't look that good either. And then this is the same roster that lost to 100 Thieves in the playoffs. They lost completely. If 100 Thieves banned Smolder in that game 1, they'd probably just 3-0 these motherfuckers. Just straight out. The only reason why they got that game is because they let Smolder go through. That was it. They were complete frauds.
They let Smolder go through while 100 Thieves play a comp that wasn't good to Smolder. That's me. It was like
great drafting from Golden Glue. Peak drafting right there.
They still could have won.
In spite of the draft diff.
Yeah, they still could have. I have to go back and look at that draft. I wanted to say it was the bot lane. I have to look at that draft again. One of those champions one or two of those champions could have been switched, and 100 sees 3-0 energy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then remember in game 4, they also were winning. It took it literally took miracle plays for them to actually even stay in the playoffs relatively. And you're thinking like if they're keeping 4/5 of the same roster, it's like what is really going on here? Or I said before, this is what people need to understand. There are teams out there that only perform well in small instances and can never get back to that form. That's just how it is with sports, Like people said, but NRG beat G2. Nobody had NRG beating G2. No one believed in them. They just overperformed. That's it. They weren't better. They just overperformed on that day.
It was a combination of energy overperforming like they usually do with G2 underperforming. Yeah. But let's look at the games before. Energy was on an uphill while G2 was on a downhill.
G2 had just faced Gen G, where they in that best of 3, where
they got stopped.
Yeah. They got completely exposed. Energy's facing Mad Lions and fucking Team Liquid. Team Liquid. They played Team Liquid all year. They had just lost to Weibo. I had to help tell that one guy on Twitter. Fuck you. He was like, whoa, my God. NRG made top 8. NRG lost to Weibo 4 games in a row. Yeah, crazy. G2 actually beat Weibo. I want to know who's better, the team that beat Weibo or the one that actually lost to them 4 games in a row.
Yep.
Just saying.
And the people said, "Oh, Weibo had an easy shot." Yeah, they think about it. If there was 7, every team in that top 8 would have. No offense, and this is gonna sound real graphic when I say this. Energy was like the horror at the party, and everybody else, those Korean Chinese teams, were licking their lips to see who would get her. And because I'm telling you, all 7 of the motherfuckers would have been fucking energy in their ass. Like, it sounds crazy when I say this, but NRG was being none of those teams in the top 8. They just happened to get the weakest one perceived by everybody. They were the weakest Chinese team out of the 4. I would say that I believe more Weibo than LG, but that's a whole other story. If you look at all 7 of those teams that were in there, NRG only chance to get a game was against the one team that they faced. They weren't taking a game off of Billy. Genji, hell no. T1, maybe.
They might have just lost in 10 minutes. It might have just lost in 10 minutes.
T1 might have beat them.
People have said, well, what if you paired that roster up against LNG? Given how bad they were playing, no,
LNG would still beat them 3-0. Maybe 3-1.
They can't even beat Weibo. How in the world would they beating LNG?
Maybe 3-1, but then LNG had better players, but Weibo just play better, in my opinion. If they lost to Weibo 3-0, every other team was beating them 3-0. LNG might have been the only one you take a game off. KT would smoke you. JG smoke you. T1 smoke you. Forget about it. Forget about JDG. That's a gap. That's a fucking gap. And them motherfuckers had Yagal last year. Knight last year. Shit. Fucking Ruler versus FBI. Okay, yeah, that's a gap.
Okay, all right. He might TKG straight up just beat the shit out of him.
Dokla versus Bid. Do y'all really want to see Dokla versus Bid?
Big Dokes versus the real Dokes.
Shit, they're the worst top laner, and I love the shot, but the worst top laner out of all of them, and it says just coming into that year, the shy was griefing against Dokla, and Dokla couldn't do shit.
Remember, every single game against Weibo got worse. Every single game got worse.
You know the fucked up thing about Dokla was winning lane, but was still down in CS.
You know what that mostly boils down to? He's not a smart player. He has no macro sense of not progressing his lead.
Solo killing the shy, and then you're still down C, or you're even in CS. I'm like, okay, yeah.
He was on Aatrox, winning lane, and he couldn't push his lead. All right, just go home.
That's what I saw in this series, and I saw all 3 games. I was like, yeah, I'm going to sleep. That was a waste of my time. I knew I could just went to sleep after game 1 and save me 2 hours.
They were like, remember the narrative in the broadcast? Like the broadcast was saying things like, "Oh, will they be the next team after Cloud9 to make top 4?" I was like, nope. That roster looks so much worse than that Cloud9 roster that made top 4 that year.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you flip NRG and G2, and I think it's still 3-0. I think G2 might have lasted longer.
Yeah,
G2.
It was shown they can take games off Asian teams. We saw it. It was just, if a team just has the better players, that's just what happens. Honestly, you just lose in the end.
My thing is, what if NRG beat Weibo just miraculously? And then you're either going against Genji or BLG. What? You beat the little brother. Okay, now you gotta go. Now you either gotta go get the cousin or the big brother. Was it 2 out of the 3? Was it who were the top 4 favorites? BLG, JDG, T1, and Genji. Now you gotta face one of those 2 in the top 4, and then this motherfucker saying, "Oh, if NRG could have won, they could have possibly beat BLG." Like, nigga, stop smoking that.
You are on hard drugs.
Dick.
If anyone thought
NRG dick.
If people think NRG could have beaten BLG, you are smoking hard crack. Golden Guardians. The only reason why they beat them was because Elk had just missed position. They were getting gap the entire game.
Yeah.
Every Western team lost to Yagal. Every Western team. And I'm supposed to be Palfox beats him? Nah, you're tripping balls, actually. What the hell?
Exactly.
Sorry. All right. Let's go to Dignitas. shit. I mean, I'll be honest here. I think this is the worst team, or this was the worst team. I honestly didn't think they were good at all. Dove was like the only good player that they had who was trying to do anything. Outside of just Dove. Remember, guys, Dove's not even really a mid laner. He's now. He rolls off being a top laner to mid, which is really rare to come and actually be a competitive mid laner from role swapping from top. I'll be honest here. What's really the difference between Dig and IMT? I don't think anything. I think Dig also a terrible team. They just kind of finished higher. Do I think NRG's better? Yeah. I honestly think just flip these, and that's where the kind of the standings are.
Yeah.
I think Dig is just completely shit.
Who did? Honestly. Okay. Go back to Dig's game because I know NRG. NRG got
0-2 against 100 Thieves, 0-2 Cloud9, 0-2 against FlyQuest, 2-0 against IMT. They won against NRG.
And Shopify Rebellion, the only two teams that were like significantly lower than that. NRG and Team Liquid, they were 1-1. Okay, that makes sense. Because I know NRG was 1-1 against 100 Thieves, got clapped by Cloud9, and got clapped. That's the thing about NRG that makes no sense. They were able to take games off FlyQuest and 2-0 Team Liquid, but as Shopify Rebellion is clapping your cheeks, even IMT takes the game off you. But you get 2-0 by Shopify Rebellion, and one of those games
they lost 0-2.
Close. What happened? No,
they lost TL. They won 2-0.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They clapped Team Liquid cheeks, but they get clapped by Shopify Rebellion. I don't understand. Yeah, of course, Cloud9 is going to beat the fuck out of them. That's kind of obvious. But, like, then you look at Dig, you're like, wait a minute. Okay, the top three teams I had beat the fuck out of you. Just they all took turns just fuck you. Like, it was like, okay, 100 C's fuck you this week, Cloud9 fuck you the week after, FlyQuest fuck you, and then right back to the fucking. You beat that's the crazy part about it. The only two teams you beat are lower than you, like 2-0, and you tie NRG and Team Liquid 1-1. It's like damn.
I'll to be honest, I never saw any standout play from any of these guys. Honestly, Isles and Tomo bot lane was just meh. I mean, yeah, you're getting rid of Rich for Licorice. I don't know if that even improves the roster. Honestly, if I was him, I would. I know he just wants to play, but I don't know if he can really improve the roster. Like, what really can he do? This is just a really awful team. They have no macro sense. They're just bad at the game. The only reason why they got their final week wins was because they put Tomo on Jinx, and they're just basically playing Protect Tomo. That was it. That was his only ever standout week ever. And then in playoffs, he got fucking booty blasted. He's not a good player. All right, what's next? We have Team Liquid. They won the LCS 2024 Spring Split. They had a massive glow up in playoffs, actually. They're going to be our first seed representing LCS at the midseason invitational for 2024. Because in the regular season, they looked like shit.
Yeah,
I will just say this right now. Spawn and Reignover, whatever coaching that they did for them really, really worked because they went from like looking like straight booty, dog water, ass cheeks, holes in the ass to looking like just the best team. Now, let's be honest here. No one had these guys winning the spring split. I think that's fair to say. But they did play very well in the playoffs, and they did actually really step up when it mattered. It's nothing really else much to say. Like, Yon finally looked like a decent ADC. It's crazy.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
Impact, don't know what this guy has to do to keep telling.
He lived up to his name. He had impact on the team.
I don't know what is up with this guy and getting thrown away from other teams and being like, hey, Impact was never the issues of those teams for the most part.
Oh, like, definitely last year with FlyQuest. Like, FlyQuest,
he was just jailed on FlyQuest. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was punishment for some reason.
APA really stepped up with playing Aurelion Sol and Talia. And what's crazy is he was just a Ziggs one-trick player that still got Ziggs. I really don't understand why teams just kept giving Team Liquid free wins of not just banning out those champions. But I will say he did make Aurelion Sol look really good. He still showed people, hey, this is not a really nerfed champion. You can still play it and win. He had a really huge impact on Team Liquid, actually. But I'll be honest here, and this is going to sound kind of like hater Kool-Aid. I don't think these guys are going to be performing at that level pretty much consistently, or maybe even ever again. I don't see the level of these guys, the level that these guys on average show. I don't see them showing the level that they had in the LCS playoffs for this spring split consistently. But if they do manage to keep that form going into MSI this year for 2024, that'd be good. I don't know if it'll get them to finish. All they have to do is basically just make the fucking the main group stage, obviously. But if Team Liquid want any shot of basically, doing well at MSI, they need to have the playoff glow up form they had needs to be what they going into next week, actually, because if APA reverts back to what he was doing before, he's going to look like the worst mid. If Yon is not playing good, he looks like the worst ADC. And even though they won the split, Core JJ had some. He just does that. He just has really, really questionable just support engages. There was, I think, a game he was playing Nautilus where he couldn't hit a hook at all, honestly. I think he missed like every single one of them. Or he would just hook in and all of his team would die. And it's like, oh, okay, this man's trolling, actually.
Oh, no. But there were games where he was trolling. You're like, what the fuck? Oh, my God. This guy needs to retire. It's like every split is always, this guy needs to retire, but he get too old for this shit.
He's going to be known as like the Hylissang of the region, actually, at a single point. By next year, if he's still playing and he's just running it down, he's going to be the Hylissang for the LCS. But
I think the reason why he doesn't get looked at that because he won Worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the one difference. And he beat Faker like in World. That's why it's like,
yeah.
That's why
World credit be extended for years, actually.
Plus him being Korean also helps because Hylissang's just what they call a dirty inting European. I think that's what they call him. No, that's what they call him in the chat when he was inting with Carzzy on Vitality. Was it Vitality?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my fucking God.
But we know Carzzy. We know what team you're trying to play for. Them voice comms is revealing your ass. He trying to go play for G2. That's why he's having a good split in Vitality. Actually,
yeah, he's like, too bad Hasama's just better than you, man. Even when Hasama MC stupid shit, like,
God, man, he's like, I just trying to go play for G2. Like, bruh, just saying the quiet part out loud. Okay. Oh shit.
And this guy said the funniest comment the Vitality versus G2 game. Even when Hasama sucks, he's still better than Carzzy. I was like, shit, fuck. Oh my God, they was roasting the hell out of Vitality's bot lane. They said, "Oh my God, I felt bad for Vitality, but at the same time, it was like, yo, I can't believe they replaced Bo for Douglas, but why did they get Bo in the first place, knowing that?" And it's also said, not all Asian people look alike. I was like, oh fuck, okay, I'm Kajos and I realized this wasn't on LEC because I was watching the LEC and Kajos comments. Kajos comments are like Kajos like chat and comment section too are some of the most toxic shit I've ever seen. Holy fuck! It was just,
good lord. All right, Impact getting his, I forgot how many titles this guy have, 6 titles. Crazy. Umti getting his first one. AP gets his first one. Young gets his first one. Core JJ has his third, actually. And yeah, TL, that's what happens for the regular season. For black people don't understand with traditional sports, is like some teams get just fuck all the regular season. Is it fine?
Was it Core JJ on those Team Liquid teams, or was he only on the 2019 teams?
He was only 2019. That's it.
Okay. Oh yeah. I forgot he won World in 2017. Stayed in Korea for the extra year.
Yeah, he was on Gen G or KSV Gen G that year for 2018.
Okay.
He's the one where they went to Worlds and they went 1-5.
Oh, okay.
That's when he was like, "I'm going to LCS and getting a paycheck."
Yeah, because the last thing I remember him while I was winning Worlds, I forgot he stood an extra year. Okay.
Yeah. Because, after you win Worlds, they want to just keep the roster together because we won Worlds. So, the only roster, there's so many rosters that blow up after Worlds too. DRX knew their bread was they knew where their bread was buttered. We got to get the fuck out. We're fucking done.
They was literally the LA Rams. They won the Super Bowl and couldn't keep nobody. It was like, let's keep Barrel and just rub Barrel for the ground for a whole year. They wasted a whole year of that man's career. I feel, oh my god.
Imagine just wasting your entire career just in 1 year on DRX with Rascal. What was his name? That jungler they had, it was dog shit. What was his name? Fuck, Croco.
Yeah.
And that mid laner, Dove or some shit. Oh my god, just
that was
straight
last year.
ass.
That was last year with 100 C's. You waste a year of Busio. You run Tenacity out of the league with old man Bearded, who was retired 2 years ago. He was mentally retired.
You give him a jungler with no synergy with him. Beardson does not play with that kind of playstyle closer very well.
Who already was kind of on the way out of 100 C's.
Yeah.
And then you get a guy who hasn't played League in 2 years in Double Lift. Beerson, who was already mentally retired, and Double Lift, who was actually retired. You're like, oh, fuck. Okay. This ain't going to work.
All right. Next team. We're going to do Cloud9 a little bit later. We'll do 100 Thieves next. Came into the split, completely revamped their roster. They kept literally one player, Busio gone, Double Lift, Bjergsen. Double Bjergsen gone, Closer gone, Someday gone. They had Tenacity last year as well. And the coaching staff won coaching staff of the split. They had Golden Glue and Spooks, actually. Overall, for the roster, given you had what? Essentially, Sniper, Meech, those are two rookies, because Ayla's been in the league for quite some time now, ever since 2021 with TL Academy. Given the roster on paper, they just kind of look like they should have finished like 6 or 7.
His third team in his 3 splits.
Yeah, they finished second place in the regular season. They finished what, 12 and something, 12-4, I think, 10-4 actually.
10-4, yeah.
And they finished overall in the playoffs. They finished 4th actually. If I'm being honest here, with a roster like this, that's well more than what you should be getting out of the players.
That's higher than I was expecting. I was expecting them to be 4th in the regular and 4th in the playoffs, or 3rd.
Yeah.
That's mean they hit right around where I thought they were going to be at.
They even beat NRG on the way out too. Like, that's crazy to think about.
Smoke the fuck out of them.
Like that. It kind of sucks not winning playoffs. I understand, but if you're getting second in the regular season with a roster like this, 4th overall in the playoffs, and you're knocking out the former champions, or 4-5 of the former champions, obviously.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty good. I think Sniper had a good split. I think in the playoffs, he even said himself he was choking. Actually, just it happens to a lot of players.
I think he was trying to do too much. I think what it was the same thing with Jalen Brunson the first 2 games with the Knicks in the playoffs this year. He was just trying to do too much, and it wasn't working.
Yeah,
and that came back and bite him in the ass. It was like, okay, fuck. It's all right, shit. It was like it was one of those things.
In the regular season, he performed very well, but it's something that people have to understand. Transferring your regular season performance into the playoffs is a bit different because you're playing just one team at a time at that same moment, at that same instant.
Yeah.
And I think because it happens with a lot of players too. They have great regular seasons when they're new, and then playoffs, they don't really do as well. You just got to take it as a learning experience. Just learn from what you did before. That's pretty much it. It's like he had a better split than a lot of top laners, honestly.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, you're gonna get rid of Someday for him." People were like, "I don't know about that." And he came in and he was on All Pro top laner, wasn't he? He was first All Pro.
Yeah, he was. No, I think was it first team Whippo? Was he second or third team?
He was like second or third team. Yeah. So that's impressive right there. I mean, River, I think overall had a pretty good split in general. Quid, obviously MVP material. Obviously, the weakest player for them was Meech. He just really wasn't getting it done. Hopefully, he can improve coming into summer split. And then there's just Ayla.
Yeah.
I don't know who was taking turns being worse in the playoffs for them, Ayla or Meech. There were some games where Meech actually did play very well. He played very well in that CL series, honestly.
Ayla, because Meech had ups and downs. Ayla was consistently the same. Never good, but never bad. He never cost you the game, but he would never help you be better in the games.
He did troll his team. Remember when he blast coned his whole team over to Cloud9 in that game?
I remember that shit. I was like, oh, fuck. That shit got me triggered because that happened to me in an actual game before where I I flashed out only for my support to miss something. Blast called me back in to get killed. I flashed out, nigga, and I'm like, this motherfucker. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, yo, I'm reporting you. What? Why would you flash? Oh, but it was like, I flashed out for you to blast me back in. And I just get instantly one shot by Jinx.
Oh, God. Jeez, man. Well, I think overall for the split for 100 Thieves, I think you got out pretty good. Just have the rookies. Yeah. Don't succumb to the pressure next time of the playoffs. Just take it one game at a time. Don't just give over OP picks because you think you can beat them. Just take them away. Champions like Smolder just need to be banned away.
I mean, Smolder now is kind of nerve death, man.
Like, oh, yeah. Well, I'm saying just for any champion going forward that's really broken, just take it away. You don't got to be giving away free games like that.
Well, what 100 Thieves got to do is you got to identify who the weakest player on their team and take away the best pick. Like, if you're playing against Team Liquid, take away the Rolling Stones and Ziggs. It doesn't matter. Because if you got to make APA, like, you sometimes might have to take your first three picks and just being all APA's good picks and make them play a champion that's not good. Mm-hmm. Like, because Cordage's going to pick whatever and he might troll. Impact, you can't really ban Impact champions. He has too many to fucking pick from. Like, think about this. Impact won World when Sniper was like in fucking elementary school. Just think about that. Like Impact's been playing longer than some of these guys.
Wasn't his brother the other? No, okay, I'm thinking of someone different. I thought his brother was Viper. People said he played Riven. It's because Viper was a top laner in the LCS before he was playing Riven. Maybe I got them confused. All right, who's the next team? FlyQuest. They finished second place. They actually, for the most part of the regular season, they did look pretty good. I think a big problem with them is the same thing with the 100 Thieves, honestly. Kind of just live and died by their bot lane. Whipple, I think, had a pretty good split overall. Inspired looked like just the best player in the league. Jensen, he looked good for the most part, but he also had some down games where he's not like super impactful either.
This might be a hot take. I think Quid's better than Jensen.
Quid. Yeah, I think Quid had a better split than Jensen did.
I would put Quid over Jensen because if I look at 100 Thieves and FlyQuest and I'd be like Sniper Whippo, I'll go Whippo, but I'd rather play with Sniper. River inspired, but the same thing, I'd rather play with River. Quid over Jensen, Quid. I think Jensen, like, leadership may be better, but Quid's just overall better.
Yeah.
When it comes to bot, I'd rather play with Bucio, but I feel like Ayla fits the team better. See, both FlyQuest and 100 Thieves, their worst player was their ADCs, who were both rookies.
Yeah.
Both, by far, they died by the ADC. Lived and died by the ADC.
Yeah, when Bucio had really standout games, like he had on like Nico support and a few other champions, he looked good. But the problem here is like he never has consistent weeks where he looks good. He has games where he just completely runs it. In the finals, he ran it so hard. He just completely just started sprinting that shit. I was like, dude, what are you even doing? You know, this is like the second year someone's had this guy, and it's like, you know, hopefully he can perform at MSI and Summer Split, because if he doesn't perform very well throughout the year, I don't know if he gets a team coming up in 2025, you know? Because you know, they asked him, like, hey, what are your strengths with Masu, Bucio? He's like, oh, we're just figuring it out. You have no idea how to play together? What the fuck? You know? And then I understand it's Inspire, you know, like, Whipple's the only guy that really tries to get them going to do anything. Bucio, I keep saying, Bucio has terrible synergy with his junglers. He didn't have good synergy with closers. He doesn't have good synergy with Inspired, actually. Both are EU junglers, too, so maybe that makes a little more sense, too. I mean, people thought FlyQuest were a dark horse to win the split, given their top side, actually. And they were a dark horse. They did actually end up going to MSI. This is their first ever international event. They've been to 2 finals before, and they've lost both finals, actually. I feel like they had a good shot at making finals in MSI last year, but, you know, just FlyQuest were just being straight retards in that fucking spring split last year. So, moving on to the final team, Cloud9, actually. So, let's get going here. That's going to be the last team we talk about, which is... All right, so Cloud9, coming into the LCS 2024 Spring Split, they got rid of a menace for Jojo Pion, who was on Evil Geniuses before. Zen, who was their role swap support. Obviously, they kicked him out for Vulcan, who was also on FlyQuest at that current moment in time for the 2023 LCS Summer Split. And if you're looking at how Cloud9 performed compared to like the expectations, it completely just fell apart so hard, honestly. I don't even really know where to start because there were so many problems. Let's just start from Worlds last year. They shouldn't have even kept Fudge at all. Fudge should not have been kept, okay? Fudge was playing like butthole at Worlds. He's been playing bad for quite a bit of time. Now, if you're looking at just last year going into Worlds, he had a good spring. MSI, he sucked. Summer, he was really, really ropey. And then at Worlds, his whole brain just collapsed, actually. So, what's up, Markham? How you doing, man? So, I really don't know, after how badly he played at Worlds, why they chose to keep him, honestly. He had more than his fair share in Cloud9 to perform very well, and he just hasn't been doing it. So it makes sense that he would get replaced, actually. He was really bad in the Spring Split, too. He was getting beaten by Sniper. Guy Sniper literally just started playing in competitive, okay? He was losing to Fudge lost to Castle. He lost. No one really lost to Dokla. He was losing to Sniper. He lost to Castle. He lost to Impact. He lost to Bwipo. Every other guy is just so much worse. It doesn't even matter, honestly.
Yeah.
So the only pick that Fudge really ever looked good on was just like Rumble. Honestly, that was it. He only looked really good on Rumble, and there were some games where he didn't even look good on that. So yeah, so Fudge was a big factor to that too. Then Blabber, has looked pretty great for most of his time on Cloud9, but this was one of the splits where he just really couldn't get it done, actually. Maybe it was team cohesion, not really understanding, like, what his lanes need. Felt like his ganks weren't really, actually, all that good, actually. Really felt like he just really didn't understand what to do on the map for the most part. Well, did you want to say anything about Fudge or Blabber before we go to, like, the rest of the team?
Fudge overstayed his welcome, in my opinion. I think he should. I think when they let Menace go, they should have left Fudge go as well. Mm-hmm. If I went for Impact, in my opinion,
yeah.
Who was that person you said? Blabber?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about Blabber, he's the smart person. He's one of those. He's another smart player that knows what to do, and does he know how to do it? There's one of those guys in the kitchen, and there was chefs I know who knew how to cook, but when it came, like, they knew all the techniques from the Bucks, but when it came down to exacting them, they always found a way to fuck up. And Blabber is getting to that point where I'm like, he's good, but is there any more we can get out of him? Because sometimes,
yeah, it feels like he just kind of he himself has overstayed his welcome on the roster too. And people have to understand he's had games where he's looked pretty, specifically playoffs. Regular season, he's usually pretty much all right. Playoffs, he's had games where he's just not the same player at all. It's very uncommon for him to take his regular season dominant performance into playoffs and still stay as dominant. He's did it like a few times, actually. I think, to be fair, he constantly kept trying to play for Fudge, and it's like, Blabber, stop playing for Fudge. He doesn't know how to play through a lead. Like, you have to go to bot. So for some reason, Blabber just refuses to play for bot lane. You saw that last year at Worlds. Yeah. Bot lane's winning. He doesn't play for bot. I don't know why. There's plenty of teams that know how to play through bot. He just doesn't do it, honestly. Jojo Pion, I feel like he probably was the best player on the team, but there was also games where, like, he was getting caught out, overextending, not understanding of when to go in. Actually, the bot lane of Berserker and Vulcan just honestly does not work. I don't know how in Summer Split it's going to work for them, specifically when Berserker himself kind of ran it down most of the split. Vulcan has not looked good in 3 splits in a row. E.g., last year, 2023 LCS Spring, FlyQuest, 2023 LCS Summer, 2024 LCS Spring for Cloud9. He's not looked like he used to look. He was literally second or best support in the league for a little bit, or at least top 3. And honestly, now he just doesn't know how to really engage properly. His laning has really, really suffered for the most part. Honestly, I think personally for the roster going into summer, if you want to make it even stronger, you make a support change. Don't really know what support you're going to get, honestly, but I think keeping him might not really be the best thing moving forward because it just doesn't look like he has great chemistry with Berserker, honestly. If you don't have good chemistry with your ADC, you can't really ever lane properly with either or person, you know?
That's the question. Who would you pick up, though?
You just get Caleb, man.
Okay, yeah, I don't know about that.
If you're right factor in, Cloud9's winning championships here, you know? So if you're putting a player here, you have to like somewhat kind of be under the idea that this player could be here to win a title. And Vulcan's won with Cloud9 before, but just isn't the same player that he used to be, honestly. People thought, oh, well, Vulcan and Blabber are going to get back together, and it's like going to be as good as the good old days. And it's like, yeah, it's just not how that works usually.
Yeah, like, yeah, no, it's never good in the good old
When has that
days.
ever happened for League where a player has gone back to a team that they had success with in the past and chemistry with one player and it's worked out the same way? It doesn't happen. It never has, honestly. I don't think there's ever been a scenario where that's happened, actually.
Not
where a player that is not that
I
can't remember a single one, honestly. Remember, this happened last year. Someday came back to 100 Thieves after leaving, didn't do so well. You have Reckless going back to Fnatic last year, didn't do so well. You know, there's many instances where player has success in org, leaves org, fails in other org, goes back, and fails again. Yeah, that actually rhymed. Yeah. Fucking crazy, honestly.
Sure.
So, I'll be honest here, if Vulcan does not perform very well for Cloud9 for this the rest of the year, actually, even though they might go to the Esports World Cup, I just think they just got to get a new support, honestly. I just don't understand why you would keep him anymore. You know, like he's just severely downgraded in his gameplay over these last like 3 splits in a row. You know, remember this team was supposed to be so dominant; they just dominate the league, win it, and go to MSI actually, and none of that happened. People said, well, it's a super team with too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's like, I guess maybe I don't know if it was cooks in the I don't know if it was maybe cooks in the kitchen as far as maybe. They just didn't agree on how to play the game or know a style to play. Because it felt like from their content, from that like Comeback Kid series that they had, which is just basically on Cloud9, which is what was their long docu-series. Actually, now it's just called Comeback Kids, which is so fucking cringe. I don't know why they changed the name. Stupid. Basically, it looked like from the content that I was watching from their docu-series from Comeback Kids, it looked like that they didn't even know how to play the game as a unit. They didn't really know, like, which player should we be playing through. Berserker's, like, punching walls because JoJo and Blabber are inting him too hard. Remember that, people? Yeah, Berserker was getting very angry with them, actually. And, you know, what do you think, man?
I got a lot to say about Cloud9. First thing, the JoJo pickup's good, but then they fucked up because they picked up Vulcan. I'm like, nah, that was bad. That was a bad pickup.
Yeah, looking back in hindsight, that was a pretty bad pickup considering how he just performed badly on FlyQuest and EG consecutively, you know? I was just thinking on the mindset, like, well, he's going to be back, you know?
EG had a bunch of minutes. EG was a complete dumpster fire, first thing. But yeah, he was bad on EG.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing I look at is, because I'm looking back at it now. Fudge should have been gone. That's obvious. Like, to me, I probably would have picked up Licorice. Probably. That would have been my pick because he could be a weak side, but he's not too vocal.
He can also carry too if he needs to. Yeah.
Yeah. And the third thing I'm thinking about, I'm looking back at it. Was JoJo the right pickup? Like, because think about it. If they did get Impact, I would have went. Yeah, of course, Licorice. But like, I'm thinking in my head. Was JoJo the right pickup? Because sometimes you look at it like you get a star player, but then that star player don't fit with the team. Like
happens all the time. Happens all the time, actually. Yeah.
Shit. Like, yeah, I've seen that all the time. Like he was good because he was the leader on his team. Like EG, he was the only person that was good on EG.
You have to factor in. If he's on a team like EG from last year. Well, they all play for JoJo. They give him everything. You know? It's a lot different here.
The first half was a little bit more like okay, we're playing for everybody because it's like FPI, Vulcan, Impact, and
Way too
Inspired.
many resources being spread out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Inspired, right? Inspired was the
Yeah.
juggler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what that whole team gets blown up. All right, cool. You still got JoJo. You got JoJo. Is you went from what could have been like Michael Jordan's final season to LeBron James in 2007. And why I say that because 1998 you got Michael Jordan, you got everybody else that's great players. 2007 it was literally LeBron James, and you couldn't name a second player if you wasn't a Cleveland Cavaliers fan or a basketball fan. Because can you tell me a second player that was on the 2007 Cavaliers team that got to the finals against the Spurs? You know who the second lead player was? Eric Snow. Yeah. Niggas don't know who the fuck that is. The only reason why I knew because I knew the Spurs were going to win in 4, and I said the Spurs were going to win in 4. And people looked at me crazy like, no, LeBron's going to take a game. That nigga was scoring 45 points and was still lose by 6 because nobody else was scoring.
That is
and you look at it,
that is actually depressing.
Year,
Fucking
you
hell,
got
yeah.
you got JoJo out here gotta be middle laner. He gotta be an 80s. He gotta be the middle laner that gotta carry and sometimes tank. Cause your top lane is dog shit. Who in EG saw, oh, let's get revenge in or Mal? Both? No, you get one to be cheap. You don't get both. You don't get 2 shit players. Who the fuck? Why would you get a power forward in a center that can't block? You got 2 tall niggas that can't block. In this case, you got a jungler who can't jungle in the jungle. You got a top lane who can't win a fucking lane even if you give him 50 CS to start the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? And then the ADC wasn't bad at Unforgiven, but too bad.
Yeah, the problem is he can't work with Ayla. That was just a playstyle that was not working.
Oh god! And then Ayla was out here griefing.
And see, now you're starting to see why certain teams work. If all of EG is playing for JoJo, and Revenge is like, well, we don't. Oh, shut the fuck up. You are dying and living by JoJo. Well, on Cloud9, he's not going to have people doing that for him. He just won't. Yeah, Berserker's not going to sacrifice for JoJo. Blabber's not going to sacrifice for him, and neither is Fudge. That means whatever he was accustomed to doesn't happen here. Now he has to play completely different, actually. You know? That's kind of... Oh, people said... Talk about Mithy. That's the thing is... Mithy has always had this with a lot of rosters he's on. They always kind of hit a ceiling and can never improve, actually. You know? Yeah, to be fair, he won multiple titles on Cloud9. He did. But... You know, looking at the rosters that they've had over the years, they could have just won everything, honestly. That's a disappointment to look at, you know? Given the roster that they had on paper, could you have won everything? He couldn't have won with Fnatic the year he was with Fnatic when G2 had their super team. Understandable. No one's going to beat them. He was with the 100 Thieves, remember? He was with the 100 Thieves. They always had issues in the finals. It was just finals, specifically. Just finals. They had problems in the regular season building up. They would build up, get their shit together, get the playoffs, get to top 4, win the semifinals, get to finals, and completely just go to Worlds, just complete brick. For some reason, he would get the roster up. It would stop being flaccid. It would get really hard, and then just go flaccid again. I was saying, like, what the fuck? All of his rosters have that. Every single roster. And then, you know, Mithy was like, I'm ready for that head coach job on Cloud9. And Jack is like, he can come back. You know, those guys just like kind of just saying the 100 Thieves right there. He kind of fucked them over. It's like, I don't know. Like, honestly, guys, and you can understand, I don't really know what coaches, none of us really know what the coaches specifically do. That's why I think coaches of split awards are kind of stupid. But I don't know, honestly. I think the team needs a bit of direction with a different coach. So even though I don't know what Mithy was specifically doing for them, what I'll say about this is he doesn't look like he was the right coach for this group of players, actually. Honestly, he wasn't probably the right coach for most of his group of players, actually. He probably would function better as a coach with players that are basically inexperienced, that are mostly rookies, honestly. Because I think the way that he wants to play the game, I think won't be happening with veteran players or players that have had a lot of success, actually, or huge personalities for the most part, actually, you know? And they had Hai as their general manager. What the fuck is Hai doing there? What? Like they had a skeleton coaching staff too. Like just High and Fizzy, Vagar V2, High and Mithy. That was it. It's like I don't know actually, you know. So going into summer, they got Reaper back, step in the right direction. They have Thanatos or Thanatos or whatever the fuck his name is actually.
Or I don't know. Some people call him.
I don't know.
He goes snap the image of Fudge away. I'm like, that's fucked up. That's funny.
Oh shit! Like I really don't know if the Thanatos is going to be the key to all their weaknesses. I don't think he is. I think he'll be better than Fudge, but that's not really hard to do, honestly.
Yeah,
you know,
that's not like a pole you gotta jump over. That's like, oh, okay, that's light.
And like Fudge. You're thinking with the players like these on the roster of Cloud9, you really shouldn't be losing to IMT or having close games against Sharpfire Rebellion, you know, but that's just the nature of best of ones, everyone. Best of ones, that kind of stuff can happen, but you're thinking like, no way that looking at those rosters compared to this one, then, you know, it should be that way. Now, the stuff we were talking about with Warren, we're like, he was like, well, Rogue beat G2. It's like, well, G2 won the split. It doesn't really fucking matter. Cloud9 actually lost to them and then also did not even win the split. They didn't even make finals weekend, actually. You know?
Exactly.
So those losses against, usually when it comes to losses like that, are they basically a pause for concern, or are they like, you know, it's just like fuck, it's just
at first I saw it was like a pause of concern when he lost to Fnatic, but then we see him beat the fuck out of Fnatic, and you're like, not once but twice. You're like, oh, okay, they're doing that thing where it's like, oh, Fnatic gets that false sense of hope, and then G2 bent them over and clapped the cheeks. Yeah. Not once, but twice. No comment.
Super disrespectful draft when they beat them too. Like drafting Lee Sin into Poppy. Like, come on, bro. That's straight up.
Not even that. 2 times where they could have ended the game, but oh fuck it, let's go for Penta. Like what? You could have ended the game, but no, let's go for Penta. For Hasama, that's disrespectful. And I was like, yo, that's because was it game 4? They could have ended the game like 5 minutes earlier. But it was
very clearly shown that they could have just won way earlier, honestly. Yeah.
But they had to get the pentakill for Hansama. I'm like, yeah. This team couldn't beat them if they tried. Fuck.
Remember how Cloud9 had that one game against Shock Rebellion where they picked Vayne mid?
Oh, that I actually
and we're all thinking like, okay, that was maybe just a draft miscommunication. But then they lost to IMT. And then they lost again. And then they lost again. And you're like, oh, fuck. And then keep in mind, at that moment in time, when they went 0-4, that was the first time in 4 years that they had dropped 0-2 back-to-back weeks. That was the first time in 4 years that happened.
Yep.
So go show you how dominant they've been in the LCS just in general with week to week. At worst, they go 1-1. At worst, they go 1-1. But they went 0-4. So, yeah, they had a lot of issues in this Cloud9 roster. Hopefully they can get back to form and potentially win Summer Split, actually. You know, if they win Summer Split and they don't look good, then the LCS kind of sucks, actually. Just saying, you know. All right, let's go to the other thing. BO3s for the LCS. I'll be honest with you guys. Riot really royally screwed over best of 3s for the LCS. The reason why best of 3s did not work for the LCS is because the LCS ran dual streams, okay? That was the main big factor that Travis did not bring up in his video. I don't know if he did. I watched that dog shit video.
Oh, about the one where he said he wasn't. Wait, which one? Because I watched a few tracks.
Not the newest one, the older one where he was like, best of 3s won't work in the LCS.
Oh, yeah, I saw that shit. I was
such
like, okay.
a Riot fucking shield. This is the reason why they didn't work was because Riot did dual streams. So factor this in your mind. Just say if there's a week in the LCK where it's Genji T1, KT versus Homolife, and then on the other stream, versus dual streams, not separate days. This is the same day. Keep in mind, okay? Nongshim versus FearX, and then DRX versus Kwangdong Freaks. Gee, I wonder what people are gonna pick to watch. Actually, I wonder what they are.
It's gonna be the Kwangdong Freaks game, man. They gotta see him clap DRX cheeks. They got to.
Nah. I hate you. So, just in mind, if you have dual streams and you have Genji T1 and KT and like fucking, I don't know, Kwangdong versus Nongshim, like it was already now going and people say, "Oh, it damaged the viewership," because they did 2 streams. That's the reason why they did 2 streams.
They did 2 streams where one stream was obviously, oh yeah, this game's good, while the other team is like,
it was like Dig versus like Envy back in the day or some dog shit like that. Fucking actual horse shit. I remember. I think in 2016 summer they didn't have dual streams. I don't think they did. It was in 2017 they really did the whole dual stream thing, and it was like, what are you doing? People was, but it hurt the viewership. Yeah, because you had 2 streams. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? They had 2 streams going on, people. Ridiculousness, actually. And I think going forward, if they do the LEC format, I think that is a good benefit to the LCS, actually. You know, they just remove the championship points. I like the LEC format. It's just the championship points are just stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
You know? That's all it is. It's a fine format. People are like, oh, it's you can't. I'm just saying, right. You can't win 4 games in 3 weeks. You suck. Get the fuck out. 4 games in 3 weeks, and they're all super weeks. If you can't win 4, you suck. Get the fuck out. I'm sorry. You trash. I don't gotta watch your ass anymore. Because this is the thing. If the LCS, if the LEC kept the same format as the LCS did with the whole BO1s and going into the, you know, the same playoff format, you would have to watch Giant X for 8 weeks. Remember last summer?
Yeah.
You would have to, this in theory, you'd have to watch Giant X for check notes 7 weeks. Nah, I'm good. Get the fuck out after 3.
Hell nah. I mean, I ain't trying to watch Giant X for 1 week. What you thought about? Shit.
Yeah, because you know, Warren was like I like the best of ones into the playoff. That means you'd have to watch really shit teams for 7 weeks. I'm sorry, I'm good. I'm good on that. I ain't trying to watch. Who's trying to watch Carmine Corp for 7 weeks? 7 weeks of Carmine Corp. We can barely stomach 2.
Shit, I can barely stomach 1. Shit, some of their games be like, I'm like, oh hell no. Nah. Say this team.
Because people got to factor in the idea of the format is you weed out the weaker opponents with each stage. The 2 worst opponents drop out. You still have 8 teams. You top 8 make the best of 3 stage. Top 8 do. You're only weeding out the really, really shit teams. We don't need to see Rogue play more games. I don't need to see Carmine Corp play more games. They're not good. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't need to see IMT play more games. I don't need to see Dignitas play more games. I don't need to see Shanghai Rebellion play more games.
Imagine LEC go to a best of 3 and Carmine Corp go 0-18. Yeah, they did. Imagine Carmine Corp, or matter of fact, they go to 1 game 3 and they're 1-18 because they played 19 games. Imagine that shit. They go 0-9 record wise, but they play 19 games and go 1-18. Who the Carmine Corp fans are already loyal as shit, but I'm gonna be honest to you, from what I've seen, Carmine Corp fans are more fans of Valorant than League of Legends. They're only like,
yeah, because that's the thing. I don't know if, because they said BO3s, I don't know if it's gonna be a single round. I don't know the specific format they're gonna have for BO3s. Or are they gonna start for BO1s into BO3s? I don't know yet. I know that LPL is doing some fearless draft bullshit of like groups and all this fearless draft stuff, which is gonna be fucking insanity over there. But I think the LCS just in general, having best of 3s available is good. Don't send a fucking Travis. He don't know what the fuck he's talking. He's not good at League. Best of 3s are good. They clearly fucked up the way they did best of 3s back then. Then they blamed it on viewership when it was their own fault, the reason why it didn't work. It's their fault it didn't work, not the format. Okay? So people are going to go, but I don't want to watch best of 3s of fucking Dig and IMT. In traditional sports, nobody watches every game ever. I don't know what is wrong with League players, where they have this infinity to themselves to go, I have to watch every game. No, you do not. You do not have to watch every bad game.
It's not even possible, because, no, that's for NFL games. In NBA games.
Especially not MLB. You ain't watching all those 80 games every single team play. You're capping out your ass.
It's not 80 games for MLB. It's 162. I don't even watch all the games for the Yankee games.
Yeah, because have you noticed that, dude? Have you noticed that? It's just League players that go, oh, I don't want to watch IMT versus Dig. No one, in traditional sports, no one watches every single bad game. You just don't watch. That's it. If you really don't want to watch, you just don't watch. No one's forcing you to watch. Just saying, you know?
Fucking
hell. Straight up cringe, you know? But I think best of threes is fine for the LCS actually,
That's
and
over 4,000 games. Some teams
time.
didn't play
Even if you went on YouTube and VOD reviewed most of them, or just watch them through VOD, you would have enough time in the world for that.
It would take you 2 years to watch 1 year worth of games. It's like, nope.
Oh shit!
You'll never, because if you watch the highlights, you might catch up. But because there are some games where literally it'd be strikeout, 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 and then the guy hit the home run in the bottom of the ninth, and that was it. And then there are some people that make it 5 minutes long. That is a short. You struck out, no hit until the ninth. You get 1 home run, and when it comes to league, you're looking at it in a sense like you go to best of 3. Some of these teams about to you saw a best of what's going to expose them. Oh no. Oh god.
Yeah, and there could also be cases where a best of 3 is more beneficial to a team. Because prepping just one game for one team.
And there's a best of 3 this split. IMT, by the way, 0-14. Think about it. IMT could win in the best of 1, but imagine I face Cloud9 3 in the best of 3. Cloud9's going 2-1 them. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just think.
Yeah, like factor this in. IMT beat Cloud9 both times in the regular season in the best of 1. Could they do that in the best of 3? I don't know, honestly.
That's the same thing with T1. What if the LCK was best of 1? You know what fucking T1 might be 6 and 8 and 10. You know how many times T1's troll game ones just because?
If they just had best of 1s for the LCK, like what the LCS format is, they would probably be like fucking 16 and 2. The only losses being to probably like just Gen G or some bullshit like that.
But the thing is, Gen G might be 12 and 6. Because there's some games where Gen G gets caught. Think about it. You know how times Gen G lose game 1 and then beat the fuck out of teams game 2 or 3? Mm-hmm. Like Half-Life would be the only one that Half-Life might have to go 8 or no.
Yeah, if DK faces like if Gamma and Kia faces like Gen G, they're losing those first games. Like do you feel that factor in how much the format basically informs your decisions on teams? Because Sharp Rebellion, they beat Cloud9 in that troll vein draft game. Can you do that again when they're not trolling like that? Don't know about that. Exactly. That's why like best of 3s exposes teams harder and also in theory could make them better. The only problem with best of 3s is there's none. There's really no problems with best of 3s at all. If the quality of the teams are bad, then the best of 3s will be bad. It has nothing to do with the format. If the teams are bad, then the games will be bad. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
That's literally people like the LEC best of 3 format's bad. Yeah, because the teams are absolute garbage. It has nothing to do with the actual amount of games you play. Exactly. So yeah, man. Did you want to say anything else before we head out of this episode? Actually,
yeah. The LCK. I mean the LCK, but I hope the LCK never goes to best of 3. I mean best of 1. That'll
never happen. If that happens,
shit.
I ain't watching that shit.
Yep.
One LCK. I'm trying to see the best teams play multiple times. Fuck that. One LCK game. That'd be so cringe.
Yeah, T1 can't troll anymore because they might fuck around and lose to Namshin. Nah, I don't want that. Who the fuck wants to see Namshin in the playoffs? Like, come on, son. The fuck? Fuck out of here. Like, you gotta fuck around.
I would say Kitty has some pretty nice titties. Just saying. Some shit looks good.
No, she's pretty. Yeah.
She just needs to let me just taste her tight little shitter, actually.
Yeah, you was wild. Not much. Just waiting for the the MSI to start. Mm-hmm. Honestly, because right now it's like okay, it's like wait for all these teams to start. And everybody's happy for Stroll being R7. It was like I told you, Summit lost. I was like. You didn't give a fuck about Astral. Stop acting. Stop acting like y'all knew what the fuck R7 Astral was. All these players now giving a fuck about LLA because Summit went there. I'm like, yeah, so fake. But not much. Just happy. This splits over. Get to MSI. Watch BLG get. I'm about to say BLG's already in like. Top 8. That's me. We just gotta wait for the rest of the team to get there.
Yes, and on Sunday, keep in mind, guys, Sunday, 5 or 5:30 PST, we're going to be doing the next episode of the show. Our MSI 2014 tier list, Double Lift, don't come for us, please. You know, we're a mom and pop podcast here.
Man, Double, fuck you, man. You wasted a year of 100 C's. You took their money for no reason, nigga.
Just
Fuck your
remember, they
cash.
paid him top dollar for that jank ass performance.
They paid him and Beerger. They played two
They
retired
probably
players.
paid Bjergsen and Double Lift more than fucking who's a good player on our team?
They paid them two players more than the rest of the players on the fucking team combined. Like they the 100 C's in 2023 were literally the Lakers in 2004. You got two niggas who were out of the goddamn league in a sense. And it's like, oh, let's give it one last ride for these guys. Beershey quitted you halfway through the damn split or year. Didn't even tell you you found out an hour before his video came out that he was retired. And he didn't even really tell you that he was retired. He was like, "Oh, I have a video coming out in an hour," and he tells you that he's retired effective immediately.
Yeah, Double Bjergsen. Man, this guy tells Nate Shot last minute he's fucking retiring, so they had to just go and get Quid from Gen G. Luckily, Quid turned out to be something good next year, but he came over and he looked like just a fucking deer in headlights. He's like, okay, I'm just trying to basically not feed right now.
Yeah.
What else is there? So yes. Got any plans for your channel coming up? Any videos we should be looking out for?
I had to scrap the music one. It's weird. Like it's weird. YouTube likes fucking with. Is with YouTube, my channel's not big. They kind of stopped me from doing the music. I put it up, and then it was like your video cannot be seen. I was like, what? I didn't even play this. I was like, it was that new Chris Brown diss track. I was like, oh fuck this, okay. Everybody else reacted to it, but my video wasn't able to like stay up. I got no warning. It was just one of those things where I was like, all right, fuck it, whatever. I'll do something else. That's why I just moved the fuck on, did something else with it. I was like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna press it. If they want to, take my shit down, whatever. I moved on, did other stuff. I still got to do the reaction to the T-Dick video. I gotta redo that because I had to refix my mic. I had to fix the setting on my mic. Now my mic will have a better audio to it, and my voice will be more profound when you hear me. Okay. Other than that, yeah, just doing more reaction stuff. There's not too much Yu-Gi-Oh right now because just everybody's hyped for Tenpai, or it's like I'm learning to play branded. If I might start, like I'm not sure when I'm gonna start playing Yu-Gi-Oh again. Like I still got some Pokemon left I gotta play. I'm not leaving Pokemon either. Cause I said to myself I was gonna take a year off from Yu-Gi-Oh, and I technically took a year off from Yu-Gi-Oh at the end of June. And see, I still got 2 months left. Like I said, if I was to play Yu-Gi-Oh, it would be for anything more than locals. Like, because it's like, because Tenpai Jaggers is looking to be cheap. Oh, yeah, no, I do have a market watch. That's I'm gonna give you a heads up. That Trident Dragon, whatever that card is, that's $100. Do not buy it. I know people are mad at Joe McHale because they said that whole thing where, if you got Trident Dragon, go look for your bulk, or if you have a friend, borrow it from them. It was like, Joe, if you know this card is getting reprinted, just tell us. Because I told people, do not buy this card. Oh, but I want to play Tenpai Dragons now. Trust me, this card will be reprinted this year. I don't know what set, but it will be reprinted. People don't want to wait. I'm not paying $100 for a deck. Or, no, I'm not paying $100 for a card to go in a deck that might not be tier 1. Like what some people think is not going to be. I'm just saying. That's just my 2 cents. From a big old black man.
Those are some big old white titties. So, woof. So, just want to say thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Cloud9 podcast. If you cannot have caught the show live, don't worry. Check out the replay. The watch time is super, super valuable on shows like these. Make sure if you're watching and listening to this episode of the Cloud9 podcast and the podcasting platforms, enjoy the episode as well. Keep in mind, we'll be back Sunday, 5 or 5:30 p.m. PST to go over our MSI 2024 predictions and expectations. Actually, I will be dropping content, obviously, throughout the week if I can get it done. I managed to get my other 2 final trailer reactions done. Have a few more videos to do. Want to make sure I get them done for you guys. And I am currently working on, downloading the pre-recorded content that I upload on this channel, putting it to Rumble. That way I can simultaneously upload a video to here. Then I can also put it on Rumble as well. And the same thing happening with my comic and manga channel. You should expect more content over there very soon. So thank you guys for your support. And we have a great weekend coming up. And we will see you guys. If you're just watching this show, then we'll see you guys on Sunday. I'll be a part of the Rogues Gallery with Iron Oxide tomorrow, actually. So check out that. You can watch it from my side, or you can go and subscribe to him and watch it from his side if you want to. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.